Welcome everybody to Dive Bar of Democracy. That's M-O-C-K. It's Friday night and we're doing it right. Tonight we're gonna have 3 topics. We don't know who our host is gonna be. We don't know who our hostess is gonna be. The only thing that we do know is we're gonna do things the only way that we do know how to do them, and that's the fuck 'em fam way. Are y'all ready to meet the gang? Oh shit.
Hi everybody.
How's it going out there in Radio Land?
Another week of what the fuck was this?
Well, I mean, I completely agree with you, but yet at the same time, it's been it's been certainly interesting because we've entered the fuck around and find out phase. As you can see, that it's going all over the internet. It's one of the biggest trending topics that's out there, actually. And I want to point out that my favorite fuck around point and find out point simultaneously has been that the people that have lost their health insurance because of their racism.
Or
because they thought it was, well, they thought Obamacare was not the Affordable Care Act. And there's a reason the Republicans named it Obamacare. And now the finding out has begun.
It's been a week of what the fuck is this? Well, we got 208 more of those ahead of us. So.
Yeah. Well, as long as we're not in the gulags, we'll be making shows for you. I just know that the amount of people that Googled, how do I change my vote? Was at 960%. Once what are tariffs? And Project 2025 reached an all-time Google search, of course, after the election, because modern politics consists of people making horrible decisions and then blaming Democrats for not stopping them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's a recurring theme, isn't it?
It really, really is.
Not our problem.
It really isn't anymore. It really isn't. Well, I'm going to reach into the chopper hopper and go ahead and see who our host or hostess for tonight's going to be. Looks like it's going to be our mighty librarian.
Hey.
You are our exalted hostess for tonight, in fact.
I am. Certainly, I had a day and there was ice cream and I didn't realize how late it was getting. So yeah. Y'all had to wait on me for ice cream.
No big deal.
That's just what had to happen this week.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah. I'm not usually a stress eater, but I saw ice cream and I saw the time. I was like, I got time.
I get it.
And I totally didn't have time.
I fucking get it. But it's ice cream.
Eat fast. Ice cream is way better when you eat it fast.
Well, see, I can't eat it fast anymore because I'm getting old, and like my teeth are more sensitive to cold, so I have to sit there. Like I can't just be a total piggy. Like I have to.
Oh my god! And the brain freeze.
I actually blinded myself. I froze my cerebellum one time with that much Slurpee on a hot day that I actually blinded myself. The problem was I just got back in the car and continued driving when the brain freeze hit, and I was in peak hour traffic in the right-hand lane and had to pull up onto the median and, was blind.
You know?
Just so you know, what's the worst thing that can happen to a brain freeze? Well, it's up there.
People that can just bite right into ice cream with their front teeth. I tell you, Tam can do it, and I'm like, I don't know how.
I used to be able to do that, but I've done stupid things in my life, so I have huge feelings on both my front teeth. So I can't do that shit no more.
I'm pretty sure we've all done stupid things.
Ice. Like people who crunch on ice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
She's mad at me when I take a spoonful of her ice cream, but she'll give me this giant spoon, and I'll only fight half of it. She hates when I do that.
Well, so check it out. In the world of fuck around and find out, actually, we're getting a clip live right now from Fuck Around and Find Out headquarters. Let's see what this reception's saying.
Okay, now stand here. Okay. Okay. You're not going to kick me in the nads again, are you? No, I'm not, Beavis. Those days are over. Oh, good. That's a relief. That is the best news I've heard all day. What's that thing? Okay, now...
Yep. You go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to kick you in the nads again. No.
Lucy and the damn football, I swear.
Mm-hmm. Footballs.
I'm telling you. Well, I suppose that we should go ahead and see what's up with our first topic. Since
our first topic.
Let's see here.
While we were all paying attention to Matt Gaetz and genitalia and a whole bunch of other things, and this is like the third time this headline, which has actually been in some now it's in the mainstream media, but nobody's paying attention, or if they are, they either don't care or already knew about it and didn't find it like it's news.
Let's see what this clip's about, shall we? UAPs.
I didn't realize there wasn't any sound.
Let me be clear. UAP are real.
Okay.
Advanced technologies, not made by our government or any other government, are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos.
So, this is not the first time.
Grave misdeeds.
This is not the first time Congress has had UFO hearings, and this is not the first time Congress has openly admitted that UFOs are a thing, like non-human biological entities. So I know a lot of you all are like, Allison, you're crazy. I am not fucking crazy.
I mean, they just admitted it, right?
Like, first of all, let's say they didn't admit it. I've just always been of the belief that, like, with how many galaxies in the universe, within our, like, we cannot be the only intelligent life forms out there. We just can't. Like, there's no possible way we're the only ones that are, like, out of trillions and trillions of galaxies and trillions and quadrillions of planets, we're the only ones. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. So
it's too much like American exceptionalism.
Right? Yeah. And
yeah,
if you're really skeptical on it, I would recommend watching Disclosure. It's by Dr. Stephen Greer, who's an actual doctor, like a emergency room doctor. He used to be. And he breaks a lot of this shit down into very digestible, like not kooky, has receipts, like government information. And really what his aim isn't so much about the beings or whatever. It's really the technology that's being withheld. And I have no doubt. I don't have like proof. I'm sure proof exists that I don't understand because I'm not a physics person. I have no doubt that like Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, Boeing, whatever you name them, I'm confident they have a lot of shit we don't know about. I'm confident we probably don't even need fossil fuels anymore. But
well,
trillionaires.
That's out in the open. We have nuclear power. We don't need it anymore. But yeah, so clean energy, like clean. We don't have to buy it. I mean, Tesla figured it out 100 years ago. No, he didn't.
He figured out the concept of it. Like, they've rebuilt his models. I've seen experiments of it.
They don't work. Yeah. Anyway, but talking to the alien thing, it's just like, yeah, unidentified flying things doesn't necessarily mean alien. Also, in order to like watch us, they could do that from further out than the orbit of the moon, where we could never see them. They don't have to come here.
But they do.
But they do.
I know Terp knows a thing or two about this.
Yeah.
I've worked with Dr. Stanton Friedman a couple of times, and if you don't know who he was I say was because he's no longer alive. I think he died in 2016 or 2017. Mm-hmm. He was the US government's living plausible deniability subject. If you called a police station or a law enforcement office or an emergency service claiming to have seen or been visited by or had an experience or been taken by aliens, through a series of phone calls and contacts, you would be led to Dr. Stanton Friedman. He would take your account, and if it seemed credible enough, he would then take the account again under hypnosis. And he has the transcripts and the hand-drawn notes and the cassettes of all his interviews. There was commonality between a vast proportion of series of people's accounts that were given under hypnosis when they had claimed to have been taken onto an alien ship. They don't mention anything about where they might have traveled to, and they don't say they've traveled, but they were taken onto the ship. And the part that slotted the final piece into place for me was all of them who had a good articulation under hypnosis were able to describe what appeared to be a three-dimensional star map that the alien beings were able to manipulate in a three-dimensional sense, like very much like what we'd see in sci-fi graphics.
Kind of like holographic.
Yeah, but what they described the solar system as appearing like made sense because it didn't correlate with anything we were aware of at the time. We've since found out that the solar system that they had basically been manipulating on their map was 30,000 light years away.
So
they found it? Holy shit.
So So it was a dual star solar system. Like it was a dual orbital star where they actually rotated in, basically locked against each other, around each other as a pair.
Yeah.
And the other planets were around. But they found it. So the other arrangement that correlated with what they had said, what they described they having seen under hypnosis, correlated with this solar system, and they realized that very much so it's real. Go to SETI.com. They've been looking at all sorts of radio information from space for a long time.
So I'm going to be a dick here, but it's just like, okay, so your evidence of something that is completely unproven is hypnosis, something that is not just unproven, but proven to not work. Sorry, not
yeah,
buying
but
it.
you don't see. I'm going to be a cunt, and like you don't know. You don't know. Like he's just talking about one instance. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. We don't know, like, if there's other things that can bend space-time. Like, none of us know. Nobody watching knows. And why isn't it possible? Just because we can't understand it?
No, because of the laws of physics. But furthermore, like Dusty,
physics weren't a thing until 100 years. Like laws change. Like, I mean, just because the science isn't understood to us doesn't mean that there's not something else out there.
My question is, if there was anything false,
doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Why would there be a congressional hearing right now?
There's been 5 since 2020.
Yeah.
5.
Wait. Skip, sorry. Is your question, why would they have a congressional hearing over something that's false? Are you serious?
No. I'm talking about you get sworn in and you actually have to provide evidence over something. And when it's saying, I suppose, people's lives were, for lack of better words, kind of trashed when they came forward about this. I mean, I think that deserves a congressional hearing.
Or tax dollars being used in black budget stuff. Like, even let's say all the tech that's hypothetical doesn't exist. Where's the money going? Where is trillions of dollars going to the Department of Defense that can't be accounted for? Trillions.
There's plenty of technologies that we don't know about that are concurrent with the laws of physics. You don't have to say they can break the speed of light or anything like that. It's like, yeah, there's plenty of things in research projects like quantum computers and stuff that we don't know about that are being researched. Of course there are.
Of course. Yeah. I go with Lecrian's comment about the missing millions and billions of dollars. Earlier this week or over the weekend, there was a 7th report that came out of the Pentagon that they're missing another $800 million.
Oh yeah, they failed to audit.
There's pilots who don't understand how some of these craft are moving. So
that was actually another note that I jotted down while you were talking, because if you watch the videos of them, the speed at which these things change direction, anything inside is going to be pink slime. You're dead. That's just it.
Maybe they are pink slime.
No, but they're pilots, 30-year pilots are in the air seeing these things changing and still moving. Like they're swearing under oath. So I'm just saying, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, either larger drones that we don't know about, or I take the contact point of view. At the end of it, she goes, if there's nobody else out there, this is a pretty big waste of space.
Ain't it? Yeah. Like, I'm just saying we don't know what we don't know. I'm inclined to believe that there's shit out there we don't know. I'm confident that there's science and physics that we don't understand. Laws can be broken.
Absolutely.
So
we don't know what we don't know.
Dusted Earth in the comments made a good point earlier on to bring it up. He's like, if aliens are here, they're far more technologically advanced than we are. We would already be dead. Yeah, if they wanted us dead, they wouldn't even have to try. All they would have to do is throw some trash out the airlock before they slow down.
They could say, "Come and say hi. We'll eat each other up."
No, but think about it. Like, we watch lesser creatures than us all the time. Mm-hmm. We watch WWE. like
the way I've viewed it is we're clearly biologically that different that we are a curiosity more than anything else.
Yeah, because if they could reach here, if
they can reach us, we can't reach them. Simple.
If they could, like,
generations.
Let's say everything you told was 100%. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. That means that they are 30,000 light years away and can get here pretty quick.
Yeah, that was my point before I got interrupted, was that, like, anything capable of, relativistic space flight, all they got to do is throw shit out the airlock before they slow down, and if that hits Earth, we're all dead. That's it. If they wanted to hurt us, they would hurt us.
Yeah, that's what I was going, is, like, they would, like, I don't think if, like, let's say every, like, all the beings are there and are legit and whatever. If they were going to hurt us, they would have already. So there's something about the planet, maybe, or maybe they just like watching us do the stupid shit we do. Maybe they like WWE.
To segue off of this, I'm seeing in the chat that Farmley said the JFK notes aren't going to be released to the public until 2050. Has anybody else ever heard the conspiracy theory? This is a conspiracy theory. Anyone ever heard the conspiracy theory that that's the reason Marilyn Monroe was killed? Was because during Pillow Talk, JFK told her about aliens, and she was like, okay, well, now either you break up with Jackie or I tell the world about aliens.
Yeah, I've heard something similar to that.
Conspiracy theory.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy. All I gotta say is that, like, if a fraction of what any conspiracy theory that is out about JFK's assassination, if just a tiny part of any of it is true, wow. And if they're not looking to release it till 2050, like, think about it this way. Most people, I think the last Secret Service agent of his recently died, like, last year. Or maybe even this year.
Living memory 90 years after the event will be able to verify anything.
And so nobody knows, like, nobody alive is, like, really connected to any of it is still alive. So if they're like, no, we're waiting till 2050 until, how old am I in 2050? Somebody do math. 2040, I'll be like 60. I'll be damn near 80. I might not live to hear it.
They're timing it out just in case Grassley's still alive.
Okay. So I mean,
but they never count on Keith Richards, though.
You guys, people in the chat, whoever watches this, I need you to do me a favor. If you're 30 and younger, I need you to do me this favor. When they finally release it and I'm not alive anymore, I need you to, like, seance me. I'll be waiting.
Just chisel on your headstone. Allison is right.
Like, chisel on it. Like, please come, like, get a medium to tell me what happened.
The mighty correct librarian, they have to amend your headstone.
Yeah,
well, I don't know about JFK. Like, I don't know if any of it's true. Like, I mean, some of it sounds legit, but I don't know anything about bullet trajectory. And
if you're watching this and it just happens to be in the future, if you haven't bought a Ouija board right now to tell the mighty librarian exactly what she needs to know once this is released.
Far too nosy. I am too I need to know.
Honestly,
we're doing a disservice to this show.
Based on their pattern of being right, I'd consult the Simpsons writers.
What's that? Say that again?
I'd consult the Simpsons writers.
Right?
Yeah, did you ever think that maybe they're just actually priming us? Like, they know what we don't, and they're just priming us for what reality is ready to come. Well, they just kind of make it so it's normalized.
They're also writing the Truman Show in which we all live.
Church. Yep. Speaking of that, do you want to move on to our second topic?
Yeah, just really quick. Sheila commented that maybe they'll take Trump and Elon, the aliens. I don't think they're going to take them. Like, I mean, like, if we don't want them, why would more intelligent beings want them? Like, just saying. I think we're stuck with those assholes, like, for...
Well, speaking of assholes that we're stuck with, it looks like the topic that you have for me really shows that in spades. Shall we see what it is? Because, oh boy.
My next topic? Okay. So this next topic, we're not talking about enough. We on the panel, we in the chat, who's ever freaking watching this and cares about, like, democracy. Because I'm trying to get to the English version. Obviously the House resolution is in English, but I don't understand legalese that well. So HR 9495 just passed the House with surprisingly more Democratic support that I am comfortable with, but there you are. And basically it passed without anybody really talking about it. I mean, it's in the mainstream media, but, like, like nobody's posted about it. It's just kind of like an afterthought. But this bill will essentially make nonprofits, it'll give the president ability to make nonprofits terrorist or like label them as terrorist organizations, and then they lose their tax exempt status. Now on the surface, when you read the legalese of it and like, what it's titled, let me just...
Well, the scary part about it, if you think about it, is if they're labeling organizations terrorist organizations, that means the people that are associated with them can be labeled terrorists, and that means they can say any. They could say that Antifa.
They could say the Lincoln Project is
a
bunch of terrorists.
They could.
If you have the 40, no, that's 90. What's the number of the nonprofit tax bill form?
503.
Thank you, 503. Yeah. That, and then there was a nonprofit that's like where you can be political, but you're not tax exempt. So basically, okay, the law is titled. Where is it? It's such small. Okay, stop terror financing and tax penalties are on American Hostages Act. So on the surface, and they do these very deceptive titles of these bills, because like when you read just the title, it's like, oh, well, that doesn't sound that bad, until you really read the language. And it doesn't, when I say it gives the president, not really. It doesn't say that. It says the Secretary of State and Attorney General can like decide based on very vague criteria of what is considered what makes an organization a terrorist organization,
which is terrifying.
Well, it's terrifying, right? Sorry, I had to take my Tylenol. I have a headache.
I'll have a drink. I'll drink to that.
Right. So like what's really important about this bill is that the NAACP, the ACLU, anything, if Trump don't like you, he can just go tell little Marco, hey, I don't like this, call him a terrorist organization. And they will. And
it will be done. And they're all sycophants, and everyone who's going to be appointed will be absolute sycophants and will be expected to do exactly whatever Trump wants at whatever moment.
Well, they will hit their bridge too far moment, and they think there won't be. But
it'll be early. It'll be real early. They'll fuck around and they'll find out, and it'll be a bridge too far, and they'll have repair work. They'll spend the rest of the administration time doing repair work.
Yeah, so
that sounds like an over/under. We should put some numbers on.
They've only got 2 years to do things before there's a very good chance to get the House back.
Okay. So I have a question about this. Churches are also nonprofits, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so why couldn't he just ban any religion he doesn't like? Say, hey, Muslim churches, Muslim terrorists,
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say specifically it has to be like an advocacy organization. It just says if you get a
501c3 is any non-profit organization.
Yeah, it could be religious, it could be
a political organization.
Right.
So any counteract, any PAC that supports independent or liberal political advances.
Christian churches aren't exempt either. I mean, any Christian church that actually follows what Jesus said, because they would obviously be against Trump, because anyone that supports Trump is a fake Christian.
Yeah.
But any real church would be against him, so he can shut them down too. Christian church.
The Unitarians, I think, the Unitarians are very against Trump. There are some church denominations that are very against Trump. There aren't many. There are fewer than there should be. But and where I, just off the top of my head, when I heard about this yesterday, on Rick Wilson's podcast that he does on Thursdays. Just off the top of my head, he didn't even mention this, but like, I was like, I could think of completely innocuous nonprofits that Trump would have a problem with. And now that Godfrey just mentioned about how like he could essentially make all religions except Christians, pay taxes.
Christians that he doesn't like, basically. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or Christians I'm sure he'll just start with the Muslims and then go from there.
Or politically aligned group he doesn't like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
broad brush. Yeah. Worst case scenario that you could think of. Yeah.
Yep. So I really don't think we're talking about this enough. And you know what? There isn't a whole lot of like, juicy, grifty, like, which is why it's not an exciting. It's not exciting, but it's
a key part.
Yeah, it's really important.
It empowers a lot of the political organizations that could advocate for liberal direction and change.
Anybody advocating for Palestine, I promise you'll be on that. Mm-hmm. You'll be on that list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anyone. I mean,
the Christmas table list.
It's basically. I hate to say it, but I think this whole Gates thing that happened was a shiny object so that we wouldn't pay attention as to this legislation.
And that's what I thought too. When I heard it, I was like, "You son of a bitch!" I
called it.
Like, I didn't like. Like, I didn't think that somebody said something on the ladies' room that I was like, I don't think they're that smart. And part of me wants to say they're not that smart to plan this, but maybe they are. Maybe our biggest failure is like really not having enough imagination of how fucked up and how low they'll go.
Really not believing they would be that ballsy and crazy.
You have to realize that there is so much of the Republican Party that is run like the WWE. And this is really sad, but the more that you know about wrestling, the more you can understand the Republican Party. What basically happened is they have what are called angles, and those are storylines. And what they'll do is they'll use an angle to gather what's called cheap heat. Let's go ahead and use Trump bashing John McCain, saying the thing about, I only like people that weren't captured. Immediately, everybody was like, oh, I can't believe he said that. And the news reported on it. Now, the thing is the news in politics is the one place where entertainment didn't live. There was no C-SPAN after dark. So what ended up happening is all of a sudden, Trump is not a politician, he's an entertainer. So he's bringing these elements of the WWE into politics, and people are all of a sudden interested, and like he's their favorite heel now because he's bringing all this cheap heat. And I believe it was Tony said, the more that we react to cheap heat, the more that they can make content off of that. But the more that we mock them when they do it, that is impossible for them to make content of because they don't want to make content of being mocked. But yes, they used cheap heat in order to distract us, to get us to report on all that, even the late night shows, while they passed this dreadful fucking bill.
Yeah, and this bill goes back to the Fashkant original, because what's the first thing that Stalin and Hitler did? They took over the religious organizations. They put the people that they wanted in charge.
You're right.
The religious organization. And what do you think the whole point of this thing is to do? I think it's a lot more about religious organizations than political ones, honestly.
Well, you can funnel money through it tax free. I mean, think about those Trump Bibles. I mean, Russia could order how many?
Yeah, fair point.
Oklahoma can order a bunch. I know that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene straight up said that she has evidence of crimes that other Republicans have committed, that they decided that they were
she's totally fine.
Yeah. And has no problem using them for blackmail, as long as she can use them for blackmail. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
And
but other than
now,
that, she won't.
Right, but since the Gates report was not released, she'll sit on that quietly. But now we all know, and I think we as the American people demand what our tax dollars paid for. We want to see the results of that investigation. But also, that's neither here nor there. What's most important is we need to be paying attention to the fact that they can pretty much label anyone a terrorist.
And then if they're not labeling your nonprofit a terrorist organization, they like how many 9/11 bills did we pass that are still on the books related to terrorism that could probably loosely be applied? And who's the attorney general, towards Americans or Muslim, Muslim immigrants who are here illegally, but, gives them a reason to put them in prison, put them in a camp. So, I think that there is still value in calling your representatives, even if they're MAGA, even if they're Republican, they need to feel the pressure. And I know some people are scared. They don't want to be put on watch lists or anything like that. That's how fascism wins. They get you afraid so you won't speak out. So you have to do all you can. I know it's a scary time. I know it's scary. I'm scared. But you have to make a stink about this while we still can. And
we need to make it dangerous to be a Nazi before they make it dangerous to not be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sheila. Nancy Mace's little Sarah McBride.
Cheap heat all day long.
And I wish I didn't fall for it, but I also didn't think, wait, what are they what is this really about? I'm kind of pissed at myself that.
Can I go off of what you both were just saying?
By all
about
means.
Sarah McBride's thing and the cheap heat and calling your representative. So if you live in a district and you have a male Democratic representative, call them and tell them you want them to go take a piss in the women's room in the Capitol. Just all of them. Go do it. Stop all of them.
Ooh, and I have a new one too. He might just do that. But I'll go off of that. I want to say a lot of these nominees that's put in, he put them in all at once because there's so many you couldn't complain about all of them. You could
flood the zone with shit.
Flood the zone with shit. I think none of them are his first choice, or he has a backup choice already. These are the ones we got to make sure that we.
They're like the figureheads. Basically, they're the ceremonial heads of the position, the people that do the actual work underneath them.
But then. What I also don't understand, too, is why now? Why push for this now? You could wait just a couple months and get this through, real quick. Why now?
Gotta distract from this bill.
Yeah, they don't actually want to.
I meant the bill itself.
It's
not going to pass the Senate, probably. Why do it now? Or maybe they're just getting a litmus test of...
That's what I'm thinking.
They're trying to see who the rhinos are now, or who they want to call rhinos.
This is a beautiful
thing.
You're
not MAGA and you're not with the cult.
The most beautiful thing.
2 years to primary against everyone they identify as rhino.
They can go ahead and get their candidates and their PACs lined up. But the other thing is, if you think about it, it's pretty fucking slick.
They're crafty.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Go ahead.
When this was, do you know when this? I'm looking at the bill, metadata, and Nicole Malliotakis. She is the Republican from New York who represents Staten Island. It's always fucking Staten Island, by the way. She introduces this bill on 9/11. Or co-sponsored it on 9/11.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Trying to get, people to think when they think terrorists, think about 9/11. And
I wonder if she won her re-election.
9 times out of 10, if there's a shiny object, they're passing some kind of crazy ass bootleg legislation. And
yeah, next cheap heat, I'm going straight to the Congress website if they still have it.
I think that everybody needs to be familiar with, I hate to say it, but these certain WWE terms to understand how the Republican Party works. Terms like getting over. That means, like, for example, when Trump went on The Undertaker's podcast and all they did was talk about wrestling and no politics aside from fucking transphobia, that helped get him over. That means, like, it's making people like you more. And
right.
And one of the things that really, really helped get him over, I hate to say it, is the fucking stupid McDonald's thing, because it is a cheap move. It was for cheap heat because he knew that our side would be joking, be like, "Oh, look at him and fucking that." But
and then we'd spread the news even more.
That's exactly correct.
I think we got to get better at learning
to ignore them.
What should be spread and what should be mocked and what should be just completely ignored.
I think genuinely anything that's not the message of MAGA eggs, MAGA camps, MAGA tariffs, MAGA gas, and MAGAflation is we're wasting our time.
Yeah, we shouldn't cover anything that comes out of this White House ever. Just come on every day and be like, yeah, the senile orange old fool came and lied out of his Putin sucker. And that's it. You just move on to what actually is happening.
In Congress, especially.
Yeah.
One thing that I have to say that we're lucky and fortunate about is that we have Project 2025 in writing. And with Project 2025 in writing, that means that the Democracy Forward Coalition has lawyers, more than 800 lawyers assigned to certain chapters that have certain specialties. They're going to be going to certain courts because we have the playbook. Now, it'd have been a whole different fucking story if the shit would have just been sprung on us like Palpatine.
We had it 16 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were making content hard for 11, 12 months on it. And
not just us. Like, I mean,
we went
lots of
until it made mainstream vernacular.
Yeah, we covered all the bases. Even while
we did,
yeah, even while Tony says they covered that part and it didn't work. That's fine. So everybody covered everything. We covered all the bases.
This is the best part.
Still, it's social engineered. It was clear. My name's in the news.
That message though, that wasn't getting enough.
Well, once he was say, he could obscure it with Agenda 47. They had their talking point they could go with, and they never had to think about it again. But they're about to find out. Now, the best part about this, having it in writing, is that we know what they're gonna try to do. You know what I mean? So the Democratic caucus knows what they need to do because, I mean, Ayanna Presley and Jasmine Crockett are on it. Jamie Raskin is on it. Dan Goldman on it. Jared Moskowitz on it. They have these playbooks handed out amongst the
Jamie
caucus.
Raskin knows law too.
Yes, amongst the caucus for each person's specialty, along with these other lawyers who are going to be taking on any sort of, for lack of better words, un-American policies that are going to be coming from Project 2025. So we're really lucky in the fact that we know how to head them off at the pass. They didn't keep their plans, they didn't keep their cards completely close to their chest. And then the moment that Trump won, Matt Walsh is like, yeah, Project 2025 is kind of the fucking deal. So here's we've been given the information. Now we got to work with it.
Yeah.
Okay. To go along with this is the people that he is putting in, as shitty as they are, and we're trying to go, whatever. He made more nominations tonight. Thank you, Farmley, again in the chat. Shout out to the chat. I'll get to your names in a second. I just wanted to cover this. Trump names Dr. Dave Weldon to lead the CDC. This dude is an anti-vaxxer while in Congress because he was a congressman from Florida. Weldon supported the idea that a vaccine preservative had caused a spike in autism and COVID around the world.
Wow.
Brilliant.
So reality doesn't matter to them either.
No.
So
well, you know what? Like, I don't like.
It's never about the policy. We try to go, well, let's just stick to the policy. You're saying, well, let's just stick to what happened today. So stick to the policy. It's never about policy for them. It's that shit crazy. Throw everything out the window.
And nobody else is qualified if you're a Democrat. And if you're especially a black woman, you're a DEI hire. But if you're Linda McMahon,
well, yeah.
So here's the thing: the preservative that they keep bitching about, thimerosal, which contains mercury, was stopped being used 20 years ago. No vaccine uses it anymore. But they keep lying about that.
Most vaccines, I don't think, use actual live cultures either. Most of them don't.
No, but that's the point about content is if you can squeeze all the information you need to in a minute and get your point across, all they need to do is come out and go, vaccine scary. Content.
Do you know how Washington tried to vaccinate his troops against smallpox? He cut open a pustule and then cut another shoulder and rubbed the pus into the, that's how much vaccines work. And that was almost, what are we going on, 250 years ago-ish? Or, 250
no,
years?
we're 250 now, yeah?
He's making all these wackadoodle appointments. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I was just responding to the chat.
It's fine.
He's making these wackadoodle ass appointments, forgetting that pharma is not going to allow that, because how many senators are... See, I think one of the things is that they're forgetting about putting all these wackadoodles in the fucking cabinet is that the senators who have to confirm them or decide not to go on recess, their donors don't want them approving people who are going to make them lose money.
Yeah, and it's at odds with his, Secretary of Education and his plans for the Department of Education, because the private schools are still going to have vaccination standards. They're not stupid. They don't want their students dying, because their students is how they make their money.
We were so close to eradicating measles. So close. And now we have outbreaks again. They detected polio in the sewers. Polio!
Tuberculosis is back. Fuck's sake.
Yay!
Sake.
Consumption for everybody.
Yay!
Remember during
I want
COVID?
the iron lung for Christmas.
Are we great yet?
Remember during COVID how they were talking about how the vaccine was dangerous and blah, blah, blah? But Ron DeSantis made sure his donors got it first. They're not stupid. They don't want to die.
I forgot about that. That's right.
And then he pushed monoclonal antibodies after that, after he got the vaccine.
Which
Don't
are
forget about that.
$1,500 a pop. Monoclonal, I don't know if they're still this expensive, but for COVID, they were something like $1,500 a treatment.
Yeah, it was.
So I think it's
one of his top donors.
The dollar.
Yeah, it was one of his top donors too.
For vaccines. But he's pushing monoclonal antibodies for $1,500 a pop. Are you fucking for real?
Of course, we know Trump sent COVID tests to his top donor. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Unreal, unfucking real. Just when I think.
And just again, rejecting reality. Everybody brought that story up, and no response.
Did it need to be talked about? Yeah. Did it need to be libtard, crazed? Probably, definitely not.
No, it needed to be discussed by the right-wing ecosphere, but it certainly was. It was shut out of that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how we fix this. I really don't know how we fix disinformation. So that, I don't know how, every semester around this time, because, I teach a course that's titled That's Fake News. There's always 1 or 2, sometimes 3 students that will email me or come up to me if I'm teaching it face to face since 2021, and they ask me how do I get through to my MAGA family, and I'm just when you find out, let me know. I used to have a video unit as part of the conspiracy theory unit, but I took it out because now it's kind of how do you say your family's in a cult to a student, and God forbid they show it to somebody, and I'm that's Like,
that's just not going to work out.
And I really shouldn't even be talking about it over email, because my work emails are public information. Like, you can do a FOIA to Georgia State and be like, I want all of the Mighty Librarians emails, and they'll give it to you since I started working there. I mean, it's probably like the most boring read ever, but if somebody really wanted to get at me, that would be one way. So, but
Fun
anyway,
games.
I try to answer, I try to answer them, but at this point, I'm just like, just give them facts and, like, try not to be reactive, and your family's in a cult. Like, there is no getting through to them. So, like, I don't know the answer. Like, I
mean, they can also fucking turn off mainstream media, both right and left. We've been starting this sort of idea, almost a homespun idea of hashtag turn that trash off. Because not only does Tony say that all the time, but also we need a way to unite all of us independent left-leaning media who isn't afraid to say what needs to be said, because we aren't afraid of losing money. People would rather hear what it is that we have to say. If you are hearing this and you agree, put the hashtag in the chat.
I've been saying turn that shit off. I'm just
so, you know what, though, you're right. Like, we have to, and I don't mean we, like, I'm talking like mainstream media. Like, you have to just come to terms with, there are no, like, they're trying to bring two sides to shit that aren't two sides. And they talk about, like, well, what's Trump going to do? What can we expect from his presidency? What the fuck can you think he's, like, he put it in writing. We had a first term. Like, stop asking and answering these stupid questions that, like, just call it out. Journalists.
They have to pretend like they're on both sides. And I've always compared it to, like a sportscaster. If a sportscaster came on and said, oh, there was the Super Bowl today, the Philadelphia Eagles say that they won, the Denver Broncos say that they won. Back to you. What's actually missing there? Like,
I've also been approached, because I did a lot of graphics work and media work with the Harris campaign and on their online shit. And so I got approached by several people about different projects that are going on. I don't know if they're all DNC backed or if it's just their own shit, but 3 of them, I told them, look, you're just trying to do more of the same, and that's not working. It's not worth my time. It's not even worth your time. Like, I think we need to really see, like, what, if you're looking to be within the DNC sphere, I would wait until they come out, or not wait. I do mean wait. Don't just start, like, slapping together another strategy. Let's try to see if we can get a coalition to have a singular message instead of all these random. I mean, you're never going to stop all the random people, obviously, but
I think if we can genuinely focus on the message of MAGA eggs, MAGA gas, MAGA terrorists, MAGAflation, MAGA camps, that it'll be easy for all of us left-leaning independent
and
content creators to focus on the kitchen table issues that they've been able to, for lack of better words, badger Biden over. And, well, now I hate to say it, but it's our turn.
No pet projects.
They only need 3 words, 6 or 7 syllables at the absolute maximum, and they don't even need it to be true.
But yeah, there's one group that I did agree to work with. I wouldn't say I'm working with them yet, but I'm just kind of seeing what they're doing. His message intrigued me, so I said, but I told him, I'm like, if you're just going to do more of the same, I'm out of here. Like, because, like, I just don't have the time to be doing, like,
We already do enough of the same.
Yeah, like, it's not working. We have to do something bold. We need to do something completely different. Otherwise, we're not going to, like, I love the idea of combating disinformation. I've been teaching information literacy for now over 10 years. I know how to teach information literacy. I know what's going on with young adults.
But that information's not protected.
You can't, and I've had how I teach information literacy. You probably, like, wouldn't even, like, you'd be like, wow, you do that? But there's a reason, because it doesn't, like, I'm not going to sit there, like, for example, I might have already told you the story. I don't tell them this source good, that source bad. It took me forever to do it, but I made this, like, randomizing wheel. So it has every single freaking there's like 50 news agencies in it, like mainstream and like OAN type, far left, far right is included. And when I say pick 3 news organizations and one topic, compare how a story is talked about. Or I take just the text out of 3 different news articles on the same story. I don't tell them where it's from. I say, which one do you think is the best? Like, obviously the lesson is journalists should be saying this, and that. This is what you should see. If you really want news and want to know what's going on, it should be giving you this, and that. Out of these 3, which one do you think is the best? Like,
I learned at a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned at a young age because I ended up working in political radio by the time I turned 18. Take any story you see and remove all the adjectives.
That's a good way.
Because it doesn't matter where you get it from. When the story starts with asshole douchebag so-and-so did this, it doesn't matter who the so-and-so is.
Yeah,
it's already biased.
And the reason why I went into that rant was because those groups would sit there and say this source good, that source bad. But by saying their favorite news agency is bad right off the rip, I've lost them already. I've lost people who are not going to listen to me at all.
But that's how the algorithms get us. The algorithms are looking for those keywords. The algorithms are looking for those adjectives.
Yeah. I teach them about the algorithm and how it's going to come up with. We go 2.5 weeks on just bias. On the surface, it doesn't look like it has anything to do with information literacy, but it has everything to do with information literacy. Our first 2 weeks are nothing but talking about bias, which I guess if I lived in Texas, then that wouldn't be kosher probably anymore. But anyway, my whole point was they are trying to go at this academically. And even from an academic standpoint, it's a waste of time. So, I don't want to be an asshole to these groups. I appreciate for what it's worth they're trying, but for fuck's sake, you're just doing the same thing that lost us the election.
The more that we can focus our messaging into anything that is not an entire page full of information, the better we're going to do. We need cheap heat of our own. I hate to say it. I think that right now is the time that there's a whole lot of things that are going to happen that we can't control. You need to make sure that you don't give in before they expect you to, because like you said, fear is how fascism wins, because they're afraid that, they know that they can intimidate you. And, that is going to be the, I suppose, the test of courage that is going to, it's easy to talk a lot of shit, but is it going to be time for you to back it up when it comes time to back it up? But until that time comes, I think that a big thing that we need to be doing is focusing on self-care, making art, enjoying entertainment. And actually, come to think about it, that probably brings me to your third topic, Mighty Librarian.
It does. So, if you need to check out for the holiday, and I highly encourage that you do. Right now, like the world, like the country is going to be fine if we all check out for, for however long you need. Like, do it now, because once January 20th hits, that's when we're going to need you. And so I decided we should talk about the shows that we are binging. And I'm not binging this, but I recommend you do, because the second season is out. So they're really, I hate when these TV shows, like, they release one episode a week. It's so annoying. But anyway, I'm watching Silo. It's on Apple Plus. So you do need a subscription. But it's one of the less expensive subscriptions, and there's a lot of great shows on Apple Plus. I can recommend like a ton of them. But right now, the new Silo is out, and the first season, you can binge that one. But it's a really good show. It's, I got hooked like immediately. Another good Apple Plus show is Foundation and Invasion. Those are two really good ones.
Is Foundation based off like the Isaac Asimov novel?
I think so, yes.
Oh, cool. Maybe I'll look at that.
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. And there's several seasons, so if you're looking for like a really long binge session, the new season, I think, is coming out next February, I think I read. If they're toying with me, I'm going to freak out, but...
Yeah, because like I like Asimov, but I have not read Foundation, so maybe I'll have a watch. Also, I've been reading...
it's really good.
I've been reading Three Body Problem, and I know there's a show based on it. I just haven't even started.
That actually brings me to thinking, hey, Godfried, what's the show that you can just binge the hell out of that maybe people in the chat that might not be familiar?
I haven't watched a huge amount of mainstream TV shows recently, but I'm going to give two favorites that I really love. Breaking Bad, of course.
Classic.
And Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Like, I'll see your Star Trek DS9. I'll go TNG or Voyager or Lower Decks or Strange New Worlds is my binging go-to right now.
Lower Decks yet? I've just seen the first season, but I do like it. And of course, I've seen TNG and Voyager.
Yeah, that's been one of my binge go-tos after the election of just trying to disconnect. That I watched the entire 2 seasons of Tulsa King, which is sliced alone, but it was a good mafia little mobster guy.
Oh, and last night I posted this in Gen Pop, but it's like I was watching a Randy Feltface comedy special. If you don't know what that is, he is a puppet comedian from Australia that is absolutely fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's great. As far as you, Terp, when you can think of something that you can just sit and binge, what is it?
The last things I binged and enjoyed binging were, like Gottfried said, Breaking Bad, still one of the best TV series of all time, and Scrubs.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. I got to see those.
Yeah, I haven't either. That might be a good go back.
I think the two for me will always be Deadwood and Carnival. I have just the most unsatisfied feeling with the end of Carnival, the way that it ended, because it had to end on 3rd season, because there was so much going on with that story that if people just jumped in on HBO and just any time they were like, what in the fuck is going on here, and then they just change it. But if you're actually following the storyline, it's fantastic. But with the way that I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but the way the ending is if you're a big enough fan of the show and you understand the lore enough, you can make the ending make sense. It's not going to give you a nice tied up in a bow type ending. It's going to give you a Sopranos type ending.
And actually, another one, if you guys want to binge, because it's been out for over 10 years, is True Detective Season 1.
I need to watch that. Being a fan of Southern Gothic, everyone keeps saying I need to watch that.
And I will say, though, anybody watching, don't watch this with your kids around. It is extremely dark and graphic, so this is an adult show.
Well, I imagine that's why they put the warnings on them. So, Tony, any questions from the chat?
Shout out to the chat. Everybody's been hanging out in the Twitch and the Discord. I've been looking at both. So, let's see, where to go. Sorry, just lost my own comment. Shout out to Benny, Amethyst, Vix, Dusty, Derek, Sheila, Farmley, Buttermilk, Jojo, and Judy hanging out in the chat. Thanks for everyone shouting out. Amethyst says she likes Shrinking. She also likes Severance. And she's using up her free Apple TV before it ends on the 2nd. So, yeah, you can basically just rotate through all of your streaming stuff and go from one to the other. And you may never pay for streaming, but you're just stuck with that one, which is always fun.
Well, I suppose.
Anybody got any questions in the chat?
Yeah, I suppose that we'll answer any questions that are in the chat, but
sorry, someone said Zoltan.
I'm reading through the chat, and I'm going to be checking out some I guess I'll be checking out some new shows, and we recommend that you take this time to find something new, whether it's entertainment, a hobby, a new activity, or just going on walks in the fucking cold, because it's getting that time. But we're gonna be here for you.
I'm gonna say my hobby is going all in for Christmas. So happy holidays, everybody, whichever holiday you celebrate or don't celebrate.
I think oh shit, my birthday is like in like 2 days. I just realized that.
Oh shit.
Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us for episode 29 of Dive Bar of Democracy. And
my friends,
as usual, if you do give a good goddamn about your democracy, make sure that you catch the Tony Michaels podcast every single day. And until then, we will see you crazy kids later.
We'll do it live.
yeah.